Welcome to the deep dive. You send us the sources, we explore them, and together we try to pull out the really key insights.
Yeah, getting straight to the core.
Exactly. So today, we're shifting gears a bit, moving eastward from our recent look at Indian philosophies. We're diving into Taoism. And we're using this chapter you shared, Chapter 10, The Way of Tao, Cycles, Balance, and Flow.
A really rich source.
Our mission, basically, is to get a handle on the main ideas of Taoism and, see how they resonate, how they connect with other ways of thinking.
Right. It's quite a shift, like you said, maybe less outwardly focused, more about observing how existence just unfolds. Harmony is key, not force.
And it all starts with the Tao, doesn't it? The central concept.
It does, but it's famously elusive,
Yeah.
Almost impossible to pin down completely in words.
Okay, so let's try to unpack that. The chapter introduces the Tao as like the ultimate source, the wellspring of everything.
Precisely. It draws those parallels you mentioned to Russell's Universal One or Vedanta's Brahman.
Right, this idea of an ultimate reality that's kind of beyond language, but it's the essence of everything. A single origin for all this diversity.
Yeah, though there's maybe a subtle difference in flavor, you could say.
Yeah.
Russell sometimes talks about a mind of God in motion, right, like a conscious intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Taoism often emphasizes the spontaneous unfolding. It's less like a thinking mind planning things out, and more like a fundamental principle or way.
A cosmic isness. I like that phrasing from the chapter.
Exactly. It just is, and everything flows naturally from it.
So it's the natural order of things. Like a current, a timeless flow that doesn't need pushing. The chapter calls it that spontaneous unfolding.
Right. It just happens effortlessly.
And you see signs of it everywhere, apparently.
Oh, absolutely. The chapter gives examples like rustling leaves, a flowing river, the stars turning. It's in all that.
But if you try too hard to grab it, define it.
It slips away, yeah. Intellect alone can't quite grasp it fully.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Oh.
From this Tao, everything else emerges through. Yin and yang.
The interplay.
And crucially, the chapter says they aren't opposites fighting. They're complementary, interdependent.
That's absolutely vital. They aren't enemies. Think of them like two sides of a coin, constantly interacting, even becoming each other.
One can't exist without the other.
Exactly.
So yin is described as the yielding, receptive side. Feminine, dark, cool, passive, contracting, like a valley or the moon.
Right.
And yang is the active, creative force. Masculine, light, warm, assertive, expanding. Like a mountain peak or the sun.
And the examples really bring it home, don't they? Day and night.
Summer, winter.
Growth and decay. Even just breathing in.
And breathing out. Yeah, it's this constant ebb and flow, this rhythm.
It defines everything we experience.
It feels like the universe's heartbeat, almost. The chapter links it to Russell's rhythmic polarity, too.
Ah, yes, that pursuit of dynamic balance. It fits perfectly. These aren't static opposites, but phases in one single oscillation.
It's like the cosmos, inhaling and exhaling. Compression, expansion.
Always seeking harmony, always in motion. That balance is the motion.
And the symbol itself, the yin-yang symbol, shows it so clearly. That circle, the curve, the little dot of the other color inside each half.
It's brilliant visual communication, isn't it? Interconnectedness. Each contains the seed of the other.
They're not separate things at all.
No, their interaction is the engine driving all the change we see. And this dance is animated by qi. Or qi.
Right, qi, the vital energy, the life force and everything.
Yeah, the chapter describes it as animating mountains, carving rivers, sustaining trees.
And flowing through us, too. It's like the Tao made manifest as energy.
That's a good way to put it. And again, there's that interesting resonance with Russell seeing the universe as alive with dynamic energy.
He talked about electric and magnetic forces as living currents.
Yeah, exactly. Qi is perhaps the Eastern way of understanding that same fundamental shaping energy, the energy that sustains the yin-yang dance.
Okay, so we have the Tao, the source. We have yin and yang, the interplay. And Qi, the energy. How do we fit in? How do we act? That brings us to Wu Wei.
Ah, Wu Wei, yes, often translated as non-action.
Which sounds passive. But the chapter insists it's not about doing nothing.
Not at all. It's more like effortless action. It means acting in harmony with the natural flow, with the Tao, with the currents of qi.
The boatman analogy they used was really helpful.
Yeah, the skilled boatman doesn't fight the river.
They use the current's energy. They understand it. Minimal effort, maximum effect, kinda.
Exactly that. It's about aligning your personal energy, your will, with the fundamental patterns, working with the cosmic dance, not against it.
So it links back to Russell's idea, too, about tuning our personal rhythms to the universal ones.
It does seem to parallel that, yes. Working with cosmic laws.
So wu-wei isn't weakness, then. It's wisdom.
Precisely. It suggests our usual way, forcing things, imposing our will, might not be the most effective or harmonious path.
True power lies in alignment, not assertion.
That's the idea. Harmony with the way of all things. Finding the path of least resistance through understanding.
The chapter uses the dragon as an image for this, which I thought was powerful.
Oh, the dragon. Yes.
It has immense power, soaring flight, very yang.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also linked to water, hidden depths, very yin.
It embodies that balance beautifully. It moves with qi, acts with wu-wei. Its power seems to come from stillness, from understanding, not just brute force.
Soaring flight balanced by deep rest. It's a living metaphor, really.
It really is.
There was that quote, too. The Tao flows like a river of starlight. Try to dam it with your will, and you drown in frustration.
Learn to navigate its currents with wu-wei, and you shall soar. Yeah, that captures it perfectly.
The frustration versus soaring.
It really highlights the difference. Which brings us to the first dragon trial for you, the listener.
Yes. The idea is to think about a time you were really striving, pushing hard for something.
Really fighting for it.
Reflect on that. Could Wu Wei have offered a different approach? Maybe listening more, yielding a bit, aligning with how things were naturally unfolding.
How might that have changed the outcome or just your experience of it? Notice the feeling. Striving versus flowing.
That's a good reflection.
Now, let's pivot slightly and explore some connections the chapter draws with Buddhist philosophy. There's some fascinating parallels about the nature of reality.
Okay. Like a concept of emptiness.
Sunyata.
Exactly. Using the mountain example, the idea that the mountain has no fixed, independent mountainness.
It's just a temporary collection of conditions.
Which sounds quite a bit like Russell's view of matter as temporary patterns of light, doesn't it?
It really does. Not inherently solid things, but dependent on everything else. Relational.
And building on that emptiness are two other key Buddhist ideas, anicca or impermanence.
Everything changes. Nothing conditioned stays the same.
Right. And in atta, the concept of no self.
Meaning no permanent, unchanging soul or self inside us. That's the core of it. Anicca is easy to see, right? Mountains erode, stars burn out, our bodies age.
Even our thoughts and feelings are constantly shifting, fleeting.
Nothing stays put. And Anatta says that what you think of as your core self, is actually just this ongoing process, a collection of changing physical and mental bits, the 5 aggregates.
No fixed thing in the middle of all that change.
And again, think of Russell's universe of rhythmic cycles, forms as temporary knots in a field of light.
If everything is flux, where would a permanent self fit in? It aligns with anicca, definitely.
And if matter is just conditioned light, a dynamic process, it aligns with anatta too. It challenges that idea of a solid, enduring self.
The chapter also mentioned vijnana consciousness, or knowing.
Yes, as one of those aggregates, one of the processes shaping our reality.
So even though consciousness is seen as temporary in Buddhism, it's still the lens through which we perceive this whole cosmic dance.
Exactly. And it might even influence it, which, again, has echoes of Russell's view of the universe as fundamentally mental, an expression of mind. Consciousness matters.
Right. It's where our experience happens.
And the chapter mentions how monks and yogis, through deep practice, didn't just theorize about this, they experienced it.
They saw the fluidity, the interconnectedness directly.
And realized that clinging to permanence, clinging to a solid self is what causes so much of our suffering.
Because we're grasping at something that isn't actually there in a universe defined by change.
Their wisdom came from that direct seeing, that lived experience, and it points to a similar understanding of reality as dynamic, impermanent, interdependent.
Converging paths, really.
Yeah.
Different language, similar insights.
Yeah. There's that other quote. You grasp for permanence in a universe of smoke and mirrors built on the breath of change.
The wise ones learn to dance with the smoke, finding freedom in the flow. That's powerful.
It really is. Which sets up our second dragon trial, drawing from chapter 9, as mentioned in the source.
Okay, this one involves choosing an everyday objects, like your phone, a mug, anything.
And really contemplating its impermanence, Annika. Where did it come from? How was it made? What will happen to it eventually?
Consider its emptiness too, sunyata, or anatta. What part of it exists independently? It depends on so many other factors, right? Materials, design, manufacturing.
Reflect on how thinking this way changes how you relate to the object. Does it feel less like a solid thing?
And more like a temporary event, a process unfolding.
Interesting exercise.
So pulling it all together as we wrap up, we see these amazing threads connecting Taoism and Russell's ideas.
Yeah, that ineffable source, the Tao, the universal one.
The dynamic interplay yin-yang and Russell's rhythmic polarity.
And the importance of alignment, Wu Wei, and working with universal rhythms.
Plus the resonance with Buddhism on impermanence and interdependence.
Reality is a constant flow, not fixed objects or selves.
It's pretty profound how these ancient ways of seeing the world offer such, relevant insights for navigating life today.
Absolutely. They speak across centuries.
Which leads to our final thought for you, the listener.
Consider this. How might really embracing these ideas flow, impermanence, effortless action actually shift how you approach daily challenges?
Or even how you view your own sense of self in a world that's always changing. Something to mull over, perhaps.